Test. All right, now that you can hear me, don't forget to go make your New Year's party hat at the Kids Crafts table in the concourse, where at the countdown, where the kids will be able to come onto the court and bring in 2018. Once again, Titans fans, we have the Kitchener-Waterloo Musical Productions here today in the Community Corner, promoting their upcoming production, Shrek the Musical. Make sure to stop by Community Corner and check them out. Today's the last day to get $6 off your Shrek the Musical tickets. And back by popular demand, we've also got our 50-50 draw. The 50-50 KSAU volunteers will be walking around selling tickets, and we'll announce the winner in the third quarter. Also, remember to get your KW Titans t-shirts and other merchandise in the concourse just outside the Community Corner. And don't forget, we've got Kids Craft tables set up in the concourse. Make your own New Year's Eve party hat until halftime, and wear it at the Kids Countdown right after the game. Test. And now that the test is over, your attention please, ladies and gentlemen, for the protection of the players, officials, and fans, and in the spirit of good sportsmanship, the National Basketball League of Canada requests that you refrain from throwing any object at participants or onto the court. Such behavior can cause serious injury, and violators will be ejected and subject to arrest. We also remind you that any spectator going onto the court or interrupting play in any manner will be ejected and subject to arrest. We thank you for your cooperation. And Titans fans, we have a very special halftime for you today. Eric Traplin is here to perform for you and your children. Children can come onto the court and hear Eric Traplin sing. And please meet the Titans dance back, the Titans volunteers at the north and south ends of the court just before the halftime. Also, there will be a family dance-off and New Year's Eve countdown at the end of the game on the court, so be sure to stick around. And lastly, for today only, the post-game autographs will be actually taking place right on the court. If you want to meet your KW Titans and get some autographs, please make sure to make your way down to the court following the game. to the Memorial Auditorium here in Kitchener, and Happy New Year to you. For today's contest, for the visiting Windsor Express in town to take on your KW Titans. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Adrian Enns to perform today's national anthem. Thank you, Adrian Enns, and you can see her perform as young Fiona at Shrek the Musical, brought to you by KW Musical Productions. And it's time to say hello to the visitors from Windsor, the Express. At 1 forward, standing 6'9" out of Washburn University, wearing number 3, Logan Studs. Guard standing 5'7" out of Northwood University, wearing number 11, Maurice Jones. The 6'3" guard at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, number 15, Chad Frazier. The forward standing 6'5" out of Kilgore College, wearing number 23, Shaquille Keefe. And the center standing 6'10" at the University of South Carolina, wearing number 44, DeMontre Harris. Head coach of the Express is Bill Jones. Toronto, Ontario, wearing number 9, Trumar Sutherland. Another car, 75-9, University of Illinois, out of Chicago, Illinois. Grade number 11, Ahmad Jacks. Our center, standing 6'9", out of Baylor University in Dallas, Texas. Grade number 23, Kevin Rogers. And a power forward, standing 6'7", out of Michigan State University and Fort Wayne, Indiana. Grade number 55, Russell Bird. Head coach of the Titans is Sir Flag is assisted by Rob Damiani, Johnny Moore, and Mike Quigley. Officials today are Chris Delaney, Mike Curry, and John Grilly.
Fresh off a win against the Niagara River Lions, the KW Titans have a chance to cap off their 3-game homestand by picking up consecutive wins for the first time this season, and they'll do it with the Windsor Express in town. They're looking to avoid their 3rd straight loss. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us here on New Year's Eve. Ian Jodry and Dan Paulshuk here with you inside the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium for some NBL Canada basketball. Dan, we look at this Titans team, struggled to start the year. 2 wins, one coming most recently, of course, in the middle of this homestand, and we look at this Windsor team, a team that is very beatable and one that they're definitely looking at the schedule thinking that they should be able to cap off this homestand with a W.
Oh, absolutely, and like you mentioned, having lost 2 straight games now, the KW Titans feeling a little bit better about themselves, coming in with a bit of confidence after that 105-100 victory over the Niagara River Lions on Thursday night here at home. They would like nothing more than to finish above 500 on this 3-game home stretch before we flip the calendar in 2017.
22 points for Kevin Rogers. That was a team high in the win on Thursday.
And he's certainly been fantastic since joining this roster, and a roster move of the Titans just yesterday. We'll touch on that in a moment.
Windsor going from left to right on your screens at home in red jerseys with black trim. The Titans, of course, in their home whites with blue trim. Maurice Jones pulls up for 3, and front rim on that one, pulled down by Russell Bird for the rebound. Bird 4 rebounds and 11 points in that win against Niagara. Rogers, the baseline jumper is good and picking up where he left off.
And wouldn't a nice start here for KW be a sweet thing to see? We just haven't seen it regularly enough for the home side, and that's a good way to start things anyways for KW.
Trad Frazier, the ball down low, the runner from Shaquille Keith off the mark. Titans forcing back-to-back misses on their first 2 defensive stands. Shamar Sutherland, pass down low. Rogers, kick out in the corner for Duncan, the 3. Won't go.
You recall that London won their 4th straight game with the win on Friday night against Windsor after taking a 9-point lead after the first quarter. So first start certainly, or quick starts anyways, will have certainly an impact here today too.
Montre Harris, recently activated by the Express, and have a turnover there. A travel call on DeMontre Harris. Put his foot down before he put the ball down.
And with the stoppage in the play here momentarily, we should expand on that initial comment about the roster move of the KW Titans having released shooting guard Ben Vazzola after 7 games played with KW. So they're sitting 1 shy on the roster list are the Titans until likely after the holiday break.
Sutherland for 3 won't go. Long rebound.
Vazzola averaging just about 4 points in just around 14 minutes a game with KW in his tenure here, or brief tenure here.
Stutz, the pump fake, got Rogers in the air and scores, ties it at 2. Sutherland cutting back the other way, and that's going to be a travel on him. He went up and came down, was probably hoping for a foul, but instead it'll be the Titans' first turnover of the evening.
And both teams getting burned on the walk here in the early going. First we saw Windsor down low in the post, and then now Tremar Sutherland with some speed.
Of course, DeMontre Harris, recently activated as mentioned. Trey Anderson, also activated by Windsor. Braylon Racing and Devin White going the other way as Keith, the straightaway 3 ball, and it's 5-2 Express.
Shaq Keith, the Canadian at Kilgore College, making his impact felt there.
Bird flips it up, won't go.
For Shaq Keith, not doing too well, but from beyond the arc, but he nailed that one. 1 of 7, or 1 of 6 rather, on the season. 28.83% from beyond the arc.
3 way off the mark that time from Ahmad Starks. Uncharacteristic miss of him, and only played 3 games, but he's been a man to lean on for the Titans when he's been on the floor.
Oh, certainly out of Chicago, Illinois, and he missed that game against the London Lightning, and they could have used him in the home stretch of that one, to be sure, since he was averaging 22 points a game before that, came back with an 18-point effort at home, so they're certainly glad to have him in his 30-plus minutes back on the floor.
Frazier was looking for Harris down low, but stepped on the baseline, turned it over. It'll be the second for Windsor tonight. Duncan. Bird now watched by Stutz, gonna try it anyway and puts it in. Russell Bird, the 3, and we're all knotted at 5.
And Bird, in fact, Russell Bird had a bit of a struggle there as well against London. As so many teams or players seem to do, and teams.
Starks trying to pull up for a 3 the other way. It ended up being a long 2 for Ahmad Starks. Titans regain the lead.
And speaking with Starks post-game a few games ago, he's a confident young man, diminutive in size, just about 5'9". But once he gets into a rhythm, boy, can he shoot the lights out.
Duncan weaves his way through traffic, but the short jumper is well short.
That's a tough shot to make in traffic, leaning away from the hoop too, off balance.
Keith trying to go to work down low, size mismatch, leads to Stutz open for the lay-in. It's 9-7 Windsor.
Sure was, and good identification there to get that pass quickly into Stutz on the far side of the key for the easy lay-in.
Rogers the 3, won't go.
That's gonna be a good battle down low. Stutz, the former league MVP.
Bird, the offensive rebound, the first today for Kitchener-Waterloo, and it looks like Demontre Harris gonna pick up his first foul with that. Desmond Hubert also gonna check in for Windsor as Harris heads off.
Demontre Harris being added to the roster along with Trey Anderson out of Eastern Illinois, a St. Louis native, with the release of Braylon Rayson and Devin White just a couple days ago. And it looks like Greg Moore ready to check back in for the first time anyways here this afternoon for Jamar Sutherland.
7:33, so playing quarter number 1, just underway here in Kitchener. Ian and Dan with you, wishing you all a Happy New Year, and thank you for joining us on this Sunday afternoon. Rogers lost the ball, kicks back out to Duncan, open look for 3, puts it in. Darren Duncan for 3, it's 10-9 KW.
And KW, as much as it seems as they throw up a lot of threes, which they do, still sitting fairly low, and in fact dead last in the league in 3-pointers made. We were talking about that pregame, how it's the Niagara River Lions, in fact, leading the entire league in that category in made shots and 3-point percentage.
Hubert lost the ball initially, got it back, and then was fouled hard right underneath the basket. Hubert with the line for 2.
Put in perspective, coming into today's game, KW 76 of 247 from beyond the arc. Niagara 168 of 437. That 437 threes attempted, like I said, leads the entire NBL Canada.
That's been one of the big discussions for the Titans this year. A lot of 3-pointers put up, but believe it or not, the amount of games played is the lowest in the league. Duncan driving and fouled. And Dan, when you look at this Titans team and the amount of threes they're putting up, the team clearly showing that they rely on their jump shot. Is this the identity that you think we're going to be seeing all year?
It would be a good one if they were nailing more 3-pointers too, but the fact that they're sitting dead last in the NBL and scoring right now too, I think they have to focus, go from a little closer to the basket, then focus outwards. But again, it's a matter of giving what teams are going to, or taking what teams are going to give you, and for the most part, that's been the best option for them. They just, unfortunately, haven't been draining a whole lot of them.
Just under 31% from beyond the arc. Morrow, the tip in, makes it 12-11. Kitchener-Waterloo. Jones, an open look for 3. Rattles out. Morrow there for the board. Bird, able to get around Jones and drops it back for Ahmad Starks. Starks the drive, tough jump shot, and that one was blocked by Hubert. Back the other way, Frazier. Leaves that one to corner. Stutz the corner 3, puts it in.
3 points. Logan Stutz.
Logan Stutz, the leading scorer for this Windsor Express team, and he saw him be a catalyst for them last year down the stretch and into the postseason.
Oh, absolutely. 19 points a game for the big man, along with playing 38 minutes per. That's a nice benefit to have on your roster.
Throws it up. Hubert looking for the alley-oop, and it was Morrow who poked it away cleanly. Duncan over to Morrow. Contested 3 well off the mark, and Stutz there for it. 14-14 with just over 5 minutes to play in the first quarter. Jones pulls up for a long 2 and drains it.
Nice pull-up Jay there from the veteran. Maurice Jones, second on the team and scoring right behind Stutz.
So Rogers was left open for 3, missed it. Bird appeared to miss the putback jam, but
he came flying in regardless, got a piece of it and a friendly roll, and a foul as it was Windsor's, who was that there? Hubert, indeed going up and getting fouled, trying to get the putback jam.
With that, reached the halfway time out of the first quarter, 16-16, and only one other game in the National Basketball League of Canada today. The Island Storm picking up win number 4 in a row. When many people were starting to write off this team and talk about the future of the franchise, all of a sudden they've found themselves atop the Atlantic Division and on an impressive win streak. Put that in perspective, the Titans trying to win consecutive games for the first time all year today.
Yeah, exactly right. And I again think they're in a pretty good position to do so. Obviously, you have the home court advantage, but you're playing a team that's just kind of scrambling at the moment a little bit after a tough loss against the London Lightning to go down 2 games under 500 at 4-6. So certainly would make things a little tighter, but St. John's still holding a pretty comfortable lead atop the Central Division at 8-4. London at 7-5, and Niagara sitting at that 500 mark, 7-7. But as KW gets more games into their schedule now, it's going to be a busy time of year. And I'm sure Coach Langis is saying, finally, thank you, we can get some more minutes under our belts. And maybe start matching up a little bit better and get more consistent play out of his team. And as we like to do, we also want to remind everyone tuning in live on YouTube to make sure to send us your thoughts, comments, and feedback on this afternoon's ball game using the live chat function on the right side of your YouTube viewing screen. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll try to get those comments as often as we can throughout the ball game.
Hubert off the line after drawing the foul off the mark on number 1.
So 4:44 gone in this first frame, and Logan Stutz, 9 points already. It could be one of those days here for the big man, although not on the floor at this moment.
Stutz getting subbed off in that last time out so far this season. He has a season high of 27.
Second unit on here, a partial second unit for KW with Hall out there now, the big man, manning the middle of the floor. And Rick Bodiford there too.
Keith trying to cross up on Hall. Pivots, shoots, off the mark. Hubert, the offensive rebound, and not the first time we've said that today. And Titans got to box out if they want to prevent that from happening over and over again.
Absolutely, some good hustle there by big number 21 there for the Express. With what ended up being an easy putback. Again, a good, equally good take there from the veteran Bodiford.
Bodiford the drive, Hubert foul number 1 on him.
Just a quick chat there with Bodiford in passing as
Number 21, Desmond Hewitt, his first.
Postgame a couple games ago, and he knows he's been struggling here this season, really unlike the Rick Bodiford that we've come to know. But you have to appreciate his positivity approaching everything. 6.9 points on the season. And he's only cracked double digits once this regular season with the 15 against St. John's, 5 the other night in that 5-point win against Niagara.
It's the second time that's happened now where Jones just floats it into the paint and it leads to a foul. The Titans getting a little too aggressive with those entry passes coming in. Oh, never mind. That's an offensive foul. Like a push-off.
That'll do it.
The Titans are doing just the right thing then. 19-17 Windsor. Titans can tie it or take the lead on this possession. Duncan drives baseline. Lost the ball, but it's going to stay with KW. It looked like it was kicked. Morrow. Bodiford now. Bodiford, the catch and shoot three is short. Hall battling for the rebound and a fresh 24 for the Titans. Go back down in the hall of the post. Nice pass to Bird, and it leads to a foul. Bird cutting through, and looks like the foul is going to go on Eric Orker.
Windsor foul charge number 30, Eric Parker, his first, the team's fifth. Bird at the line.
So Bird at the line with a chance here to tie things up for KW as we've kind of gone back and forth here this opening frame.
Very similar on Thursday against Niagara. Tightly contested all the way through. KW leading by as many as 16, but down the stretch needing to nail some free throws to get that separation and come away with just that 5-point margin win.
KW need to do more of it too. They sit second last in free throw attempts a game. 22.
Morrow now in all alone. Greg Morrow, the one-hand jam and the foul.
Flying in Greg Morrow with the big time too. Nice finish there and a chance at a 3-point play. That'll get these fans up and going here in the early going.
Big play from Morrow, and he's been known to bring that highlight reel play, but you mentioned for him it's going to be about the consistency this year, of course, a lot bigger role than he had in the Titans' inaugural season.
Well, with Greg Morrow, it's been evident throughout his collegiate career. He just gets off the floor very quickly. A lot of spring in that step, and he showed that quick elevation a moment ago.
21-19, Titans regain the lead with just under 3 to play in the opening quarter. Anderson, of course, one of those recent additions, trying to work on Russell Bird. Flips off the tough shot and board there off the miss by Bodiford. Bird floats it up, Hall, and the lay-in on the baseline. Nice play from Hall. It looked like he was going for the alley-oop, but when you're 7 foot, sometimes you can settle for an easy one-step layup like that.
For others it might be too, but you're right. Makes it look easy in that instance with a big stride.
Parker, another difficult shot. Hall there for the rebound. Floats it all the way up. Morrow readjusts in midair and lays it in. What a play. Greg Morrow off the assist from Duncan. 25-19 KW.
Again, that athleticism of Greg Morrow on full display there.
Keith the drive, and a foul going to be called. It looks like it's on Derek Hall, who was draped all over him. He doesn't like the call.
And these fans, as well as head coach Serge Langis and Hall, can't believe this call. Chris Delaney coming over and sending it over to the scores table. Chris Delaney, Mike Curry, and John Gurley make up today's officiating crew, with Chris Delaney, the crew chief, this afternoon.
Keith, good on both.
And we're going to have a substitution here with Ollie Jr. coming on for Keith.
Keith actually going 1 for 2, 25-20. Duncan, Bird, Hall, Morrow, and Bodiford on the floor for Kitchener. Hall floats it inside. Bodiford puts it up and gets it to drop. Rick Bodiford, what a play off the pass from Hall. few moments ago, Hall took the pretty pass and made the most of it in the paint. That time, he gets the dime and a chance for a three-point play.
And Bodiford, like we mentioned, in limited minutes, just 17 minutes on Thursday night, and he knows he needs to come out with a better effort here too, and it's plays like that that might spark things that get little for him.
Rick Bodiford leads a three-point play.
Last time these two teams hooked up, Bodiford with 8 points and 7 in the season opener as well.
That's good. Long two that time from Fraser. 28-22. Windsor able to keep it a two-score game. Foul called that time. It appears it went on Stutz.
Windsor's foul charging a free. Logan Stutz is first.
That'll be number 1.
Penalty situation.
That 8th, so 17th foul of the opening quarter for Windsor. Titans staying much more disciplined.
And much more focused on getting to the free throw line as well.
Hall.
Training both there. That'll help the cause.
30-22. Frazier splits the D, leaves it for Stutz. An open look from downtown, won't go. And Sutherland there for the board. Under a minute to go now. Titans trying to grow this lead. Starks down low to Hall. Over to Morrow. Baseline drive, runs into a double team out to Sutherland. Trying to cut back with the left hand. He goes up. It looks like it went off Stutz and out. A clean block. It'll stay Titans ball with 8 on the shot clock.
Two things you gotta like right there is Hall finding Morrow in the corner. Helps out with the spacing there, and then Tremar taking on his left hand. Bit of a slash move there to get to the hoop and at least trying to garner some contact.
Rick Bodiford, the illegal screen off the inbound, and that'll be the 4th Titans foul of the quarter end. Windsor Express basketball. Frazier thought about the deep triple, but Sutherland there to get back in defense.
That 3 ball obviously won't count with the whistle on the floor beforehand.
Fouls on Sutherland, it appears.
That's his first personal as he gets on the score sheet in that respect.
13.3 seconds the difference between the game and shot clock. Frazier. Stutz. Inside but won't go. He was watched by Sutherland. Hall. Shot clock is off so the Titans can hold for the last shot of the quarter. Starks thought about it. Now they're down to 5 seconds. 3, 2. Starks the drive, flips it up, and he'll get the roll. At the buzzer, Ahmad Starks, and the Titans have a double-digit lead.
You gotta like the fact that number 11 didn't just settle there to take the long-distance shot. Took a look at the hoop and maybe faked out the defender a little bit, got an extra step with that speed of his, and a pretty finger roll there. Gets it done, and the Titans with a double-digit lead after the opening quarter play.
And certainly looking good early on, and that's kind of been the key. When you see the Titans get off these slow starts, oftentimes they've been able to come back and make it close, make it a 1 or 2 score game, but we've never really seen them pull away and able to get back into a game competitively with a chance to win after falling behind so early.
Oh, absolutely. This is a step in the right direction for them, and we'll see whether they just can maintain this or build on it come the second quarter. We all know how many ebbs and flows there are throughout a basketball game, and the key to that is just limiting those times when you might not necessarily be putting or dropping those shots that you typically make. To take a look at the first quarter stats, and it's Logan Stutz with his 9 points rather, still leading all scorers. Greg Morrow with the 7 to lead the Titans in 8 minutes played. But Titans shooting 48% from the floor, that'll get it done. It was a back and forth affair in that first period too. 8 lead changes before KW kind of settled in there in the last couple minutes of the quarter.
Of course, getting their largest lead of the quarter and the game coming at the buzzer. Mont Starks flips it up. 32-22. Back out for the Titans. Hall, Morrow, Bodiford, Starks, and Sutherland for the Express. It appears to be Jones, Stutz, Otley, Fraser. Looks like Parker.
And already 8 free throw attempts for the Titans this ball game. We mentioned 22 on average is what they've been having per game, and they're already on pace for 10 more than that tonight.
It's actually Harris who goes out, and Hall off the rebound puts it in with a two-hand flush. Big throwdown from the big man Derek Hall.
And I like this move by Coach Langes, keeping this unit out there that got you this 10-point lead essentially, bringing some good energy off the bench. Why not keep him out?
Jones now, big mismatch. Watch by Hall,
Wow.
floats it over him. He was looking for Harris. It goes out of bounds, but will stay Windsor basketball.
Montre Harris was hollering over here, even we could hear him for that basketball, as it was he posting up against the very undersized Ahmad Starks.
Jones, the three, getting back to help with Starks, but he knocks it down regardless and brings it back to a single-digit game.
11 on 11 there, and it's the Windsor's version that gets the better of the Titans. Maurice Jones, 41% shooting from beyond the arc to lead the team this season.
Bodiford, the drive, flips up with the right hand, won't drop. And there for the rebound was Harris. Fraser, the other way, lost the ball. Hall able to strip him cleanly. Launches one down the court, back to Sutherland, and he can't lay it in. Morrow can't either. Oh, and a disaster for the Titans on that possession. 2-on-0. Sutherland couldn't lay it in. Morrow should have easily tipped it in on the rebound, but now Windsor has a chance to respond.
Some poor execution on one end and sloppiness on the other, as Windsor just threw it away. But going back to that lay-in, that's one the Titans really should have had. After it was Chad Fraser with a nice spin move, but then lost control and an errant pass. Landed in the hands of Hall, who got that nice stretch pass over to Bodiford, one bounce over to Sutherland, who again, just missing on the lay-in. Morrow as well on the putback.
They turn it over the other way. Michael Achenpong checking in for the first time this afternoon. Hall down low working on Harris, leaves it Bodiford. High arcing jump shot, won't drop.
Hall doing a good job though on a little handoff, setting a bit of a pick and garnering some spacing for Bodiford to take that mid-range jumper.
Harris down low and he traveled.
I think that's the second travel call already this afternoon for the Express. Extra step taken by Harris. Harris, formerly of University of South Carolina, transferred over to Florida, and he never actually really played for the Gators. Dealt with a lot of off-court issues and the rest as well, and kind of a second chance now in his basketball life with the Windsor Express, coming in with the release of Grayson and Devin White.
Starks off the screen for three, drops it in. Straight away three ball from Ahmad Starks. 37-25, KW with the lead.
Third of the ball game for KW, 3 of 10 from long range.
Open look for Fraser, but in and out.
And biggest lead of the game so far for KW.
Bodiford outside, Sutherland, Hall. Down to Sutherland and the easy reverse lay-in. What a nice find by Derek Hall. That's a couple nice dimes that we found for him in the paint. Usually he's on the other end of those.
Absolutely right, but nice touch on that pass and just a heady play. And there we're starting to see the chemistry starting to form between these two units. We talked last game how going in practice is usually Unit 1 versus Unit 2, and there's a lot of pride there and a lot of chemistry being built that way, but now we're seeing that transition to the game speed and regular season games in general. Guys know where they're potentially going to be on the floor, and they can anticipate a bit more too. And there we saw Sutherland just hang around baseline enough for Hall after receiving the pass just to give a nice one touch as two defenders collapsed in on him.
After Stutz scored 9 points in the first quarter, it starts to quiet down. Of course, he is the leading scorer for the Express. They have 3 players averaging 16-plus points per game. The Titans, I believe they only have the one in Ahmad Starks, and he's done it in limited action.
So after this afternoon's ball game against the Express KW, with 4 of their next 5 on the road, beginning in London on January the 5th. They'll be back here to take on Niagara once more on the 6th. And then their Eastern road trip swing with a pit stop in London first before they take on the St. John's Edge for the first time in St. John's. 2 in a row back-to-back.
Well, you look at that, that's a pretty grueling stretch of games in the sense that you got to go take on the defending champions. You're at home against Niagara, not too bad, coming off a win against them. Then you go back to Bud Gardens, 2 in St. John's on back-to-backs. Then you fly home and take on the first place Edge again on the front of a back-to-back before taking on Moncton. So a busy start to the new year for the Titans.
That's 8 games in 15 days. That
Not
you don't see all too often.
With not to mention about 3 flights in the middle. You got to go out east and then to St. John's.
We talk about plane legs and how that can be a factor sometimes. Well, they're going to be certainly tested in the very near future for KW as another substitution. It'll be Ollie Jr. coming off, replaced by Shaq Keith. Shaq Keith again with some time spent in Orangeville.
Hall, a little pump fake, able to blow by Harris, flips it high off the window and drew a late foul.
Calling a charge on that one.
And it was on Hall. Not sure where the contact came in, but regardless, it'll be the foul on Hall. It's his second, with Kevin Rogers going to check back in. Rogers, the only other player on the Titans besides Starks, averaging 16-plus points per game. Of course, the leading scorer in that last win. Down low. The baseline drive and the score. He was able to slip around Rogers. Once again, back to a 9-point game. Bird uses the screen, takes a 3, long rebound. Sutherland battling for it. And it comes down to the Express. It's Frazier. Frazier trying to take matters in his own hand, flips it up, won't go, but Stutz there for the rebound as he gets into double digits and cuts that Kitchener-Waterloo lead down to 7. And the turnover, Bird lost it. Frazier, he's just got Morrow to beat, flips it up and gets it to roll. No foul called. And that'll do it for Coach Langis. He's seen enough. He calls a timeout, and they've watched their double-digit lead evaporate. Just a 2-score game now.
Yeah, 7-0 run here for Windsor to get them back within 5 points. And I alluded to it before the start of this quarter, how things go in spurts here, and it's a smart move by Serge Langis, the veteran head coach, to just maybe stop the progress or stop the bleeding just slightly here. With 7:51 to go in the first half of play. Don't want to kill the momentum that you've built so far.
Interesting to see what he comes out with as far as the lineup goes out of this timeout. Derek Hall seemed to be cruising along, but now you got to pay a little bit more closer attention to him. 2 fouls. This is something to worry about for the big man.
I haven't seen all too much of Kevin Rogers so far, but again, it's just a matter of this 5 that's been on the floor playing as well as they have, and now we're going to see Rogers come out, and he's leading the troops out there along with Darren Duncan, Tamar Sutherland, and Russell Bird too, who in his last 2 games, 19 points combined his last 2 games. 4th on team in scoring, just under 15, so after that 21-point effort against the Express on the road, a couple games that he's had a tough go of it. So far here today, 6 points, not a bad start.
Starks now watched by Achimpong, 10 to shoot. Starks trying to spin away from the defender, able to get some room, floats it up, and just misses. Frazier, the other way he's been hot, his last few trips up the floor. At that time, he trips over Darren Duncan, and it's going to be number 1 getting the foul called for the home side.
Chad Fraser, formerly of UAB.
Fraser in his 5 appearances this year, shooting about 65% from the stripe. Just like that, it's a 1-possession ball game. An 11-point Titans lead has disappeared in a hurry, and even after the timeout call, it didn't help. Duncan lost it, but it was touched by Fraser. Shot clock down at 12, and that time Fraser is going to get called for the foul.
And Fraser mentioned he spent time at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, but was one of the top-rated junior college players in the States, signing his letter of intent with the college back in 13-14. 16th best junior college prospect overall.
Rogers battling for position down low, high off the glass and in, able to put an end to that Windsor run. Fraser, the drive, flips it up with the right hand and gets it to drop. What a second quarter so far for Chad Fraser.
Just over 12 points a game so far. Team is 6th on the team in scoring, and like you said, having a good spurt the last couple minutes himself. After missing the first few games of the season, the first 4 or 6 in fact.
Hubert, the entry pass was deflected by Rogers out of bounds. It will stay Windsor basketball with 10 on the shot clock.
A quick fix on that. Thought missed the first 4 games of the year. Didn't get his first start until December the 9th after coming off the bench the first couple of games. And now is in fact returning to lineup after missing the last 2 against Niagara and London.
That's the 3rd travel call. Express already in the first half. That time Desmond Hubert called for the violations. Getting a few turnovers in their favor. Love to see them capitalize though. Sutherland has been quiet so far this afternoon. Starks trying to work away from the pressure. Stutz gets over to watch him, so drops it back. Rogers contested jump shot off the mark.
Again, the Titans getting a little away from attacking the hoop, settling for those jumpers, just not falling at the moment.
Jones in a wide open look and jam for Desmond Hubert.
Nice extra pass there down low as he was left wide open. Complete breakdown there for the Titans defensively. All of a sudden, we've got a 1-point ball game.
Sutherland that time drew the foul. Keith going to get called for his first. Windsor a lot more disciplined this quarter. And that helps considering they were in the penalty early and often in that first. And that time Bird going to get called for the offensive foul. Oh no. Going to go on Logan Stutz.
And he can't believe this call as he's looking for an explanation.
Bird was draped all over him trying to jostle for positioning on the inbounds play, but quick foul there called on Stutz. That's number 2 on the Express leading scorer. Rogers flips it up with the left hand. Will go Sutherland gets the rebound, dishes out. Shot clock did not reset, but it doesn't matter because here comes Trey Anderson. Can't get it to go, but Stutz the follow-up, and the Express have regained the lead.
Didn't take too long for that to happen, did it? Just over a quarter, and all of a sudden, after being down 10 to start the second, Windsor leading it by 1.
Starks misses the 3. Now the Express looking to stretch that lead. Just under 5 minutes to go in the first half. Jones is watched by Rogers defensively. Shot clock down to 5. Drives, flips it up. It looked like Rogers got a hand on it, then touched it out of bounds, but no change of possession. So the Express will have to hurry. Just
Shaq set to inbound here. Spent time in the Crown League. A lot of these players in the NBL Canada play their summer days in that league. Corner 3 doesn't go. by Keith. But how he really models his game after Kevin Durant of the NBA, really looks up to his talent level.
And that should be goaltending, and it will be. And a foul call. Waterford there.
He took quite the shot there going up, didn't he? As Waterford now will try and gather himself and before he heads to the line to finish off this three-point play.
Waterford short on the free throw, however. 43-42, Kitchener-Waterloo with the lead. Greg Morrow is set to check back in for the Titans.
And Stutz just pleading. No, but Stutz is still going after him.
Foul going to be called that time. It looked like it was called on Hugh.
Conversation between he and Anderson, the newcomer, saying I was wide open. You've got to beat the big man the rock. You've got to put if you're demanding the basketball, you get him the rock.
Morrow. Keith on him defensively. Duncan looking for some help, 5 to shoot. Bird backing down and draws the foul. Jones called for the swipe. And that's going to be foul number 2 on Maurice Jones.
And again, Jones upset with that call. Thought he had a clean strip there, but Bird on the spin move. Hard work will get him a trip to the line yet again. Bird hit 1 for 2 from his last trip to the charity line.
Bird, good on the first so far this year, shooting 75% from the stripe. Two for 2. Three and a half to go in half number 1. Keith. And that time a foul going to be called. It was Bird who appeared to have the interception.
Yeah, reach in there.
It's actually going to be
Shaq Keith, I think.
Yep, Keith the offensive foul, and that's one of those rare situations where the offensive foul.
Well, especially with it. It's just a matter of your feet stopping moving and not doing what you should be doing there in that instance. It's just getting back as quickly as possible.
Instead of a fast break, Bird was forced to stop on the whistle. The shot clock down to 5. Continues to wind down. Left-hand dribble. Step back in the paint. Won't go, and Stutz the rebound. Windsor once again. Pull within 1 or tie on this possession. And tie it.
That was very, we talked about how he looks up to Kevin Durant. That was very Durant-esque there. Catch and shoot 3. Smooth release and follow through.
Waterford trying to do it with the long 2, but won't go. Frazier, the pass down low. Backing in a Morrow counter plus the foul. What a play from Logan Stutz, and a chance for a 3-point play.
There was nothing more that Greg Morrow could have done there going against Logan Stutz at 6'9". Morrow at best standing at 6'4". So that 5 inches advantage, you can tell Stutz really won that pass in. He knew what he had right behind him as Morrow tried to dig an elbow into him a few times there, at least make it physical, but credit Stutz as he fit point play.
Stutz continuing to carry this Windsor offense.
On his back at the moment. And just a little less controlled that time around as he split the lead.
Jones. Keith with the reverse, and he's able to score a seismic.
Some good athleticism there shown by Keith this time as he flashed his long distance shooting range and then finishing off on the reverse layup.
Catch and shoot 3 off the mark that time from Russell Bird. More. 50-45 they lead, and under a minute and a half left in the first.
This is very similar to the game we saw here a little while ago between Windsor and Kitchener, where KW was able to build a bit of a lead, but all of a sudden, within a few minutes span, it was Windsor just completely taken over.
Coach Langis calling a timeout, wants to talk to his troops back after the offensive foul, and it weren't for all these mistakes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise for Lucian. It's time for a 3-point contest for Lucian.
Giving them on their mistakes.
The NBL Canada finalists from a year ago, proving why they're just that. Very well coached under bench boss Bill Jones. And with 1:23 to go, he certainly has made the right adjustments. Coming into the quarter down by 10 by as many as 12 in this frame. And all of a sudden, 5-point lead for the roadside. And Windsor
Of course, coming in at
for the Express. They're going to have a bit of a busy run, to say the least, as they're going to head out east after this one. This is a part of a long road trip that they've got now. 7-game road trip. This is the second of that. 5 more as they head out east to take on Moncton, St. John in New Brunswick, Island Storm, and then back-to-back against the Edge before returning home.
out of the timeout. Go up against Parker and scores. Nice play from Rogers, who has been quiet so far in this one.
Yeah, just 4 points, now 6 points.
Keith flips it up and in.
Good first step there by Keith to get around the defender. As now KW under minute go, 35 seconds to be exact. Clock differential.
Bodiford 3 off the mark.
So the Express are able to wind it down. 5 seconds rather, going the other way with it. Able to collect on a miss.
Jones against Duncan. Settles for the jump shot, won't go, and the Titans will have about 6 seconds, but they throw it away. Parker, Jones, Motley, the lay-in at the buzzer. They'll count it, and the Express head to the locker room up 7, and just a breakdown on that final play. Instead of making it a 1-score game, now you're down 3.
Way too rushed. Exactly, KW got exactly what they wanted. A miss on the shot, 7 seconds coming down with that ball, and then just a poor pass on the outlet. And the Express with another opportunity, which obviously they executed to perfection.
The Titans go from up 10 to down 7 in a matter of 1 quarter. 54-47. Got the second half coming up. Titans trying to rebound. They led by 10 points after the first 12 minutes. Then at halftime, find themselves down 7. Windsor getting the basketball to start the second half. Fraser hits the turnaround jumper and extends the lead to 9. Ian and Dan back with you in the booth here for this New Year's Eve edition of NBL Canada Basketball. Titans and Express. Titans trying to cap off the homestand with a dub. And meanwhile, D-Dub is trying to avoid losing their 3rd straight. Rogers, quick jumper goes. Quiet first half for Rogers, who is coming off an electrifying performance on Thursday night against the River Lions.
But up to 10 points now, so the lone man in double digits for the KW Titans thus far, after we saw Derek Hall for a good chunk of minutes when his unit came on and built that 14-point Titan lead at one point, which was whittled away and eventually resulted in a 5-point deficit heading into halftime. And now we have Shaq Keith back in the line. Shaq, in fact, bringing some news about him, and he was indeed named after Shaquille O'Neal, was his mother's favorite player. So kind of an homage to the big man who played for the Magic, Lakers, among other teams.
Duncan tried to float that one to Rogers. It looks like he got tied up and drew a foul. And indeed he did. It was on DeMontre Harris, of course, who's in his first game for Windsor after being recently activated.
And we haven't seen much Trey Anderson, just 4 minutes played. The other addition, 6'4" guard.
Oh, and the reverse jam that time from Rogers. Talked about how he was quiet in the first. That was all but quiet. The reverse jam from Kevin Rogers.
4 points, and we're not even 2 minutes gone for Rogers. We're going to see a lot more of number 23, I would assume, this second half.
Studd trying to back in, floats it, scores, and the foul. Bird swiped at him, and Studd's a chance for a 3-point play in the immediate response from the former MVP.
21 points, chance for 22 now as he closes in on a double-double with 9 boards to go with his tally on the night. He's had himself a dominating performance thus far. Logan Stutz has come out to play. Leading scorer for the Express, as we mentioned.
Bird, the quick release 3, off the mark. Rebound that time from Harris. Keith, the transition 3 won't go. Long rebound and into the hands of Duncan. He's got Bird with him. Hits the brakes, drops it off. Sutherland absorbs contact into the corner. Bird, the step around the 3 and the miss. Fraser spins around Starks, but lost the handle, and some nice handles from Bird. Sutherland,
Travel
the bounce
call,
pass, and a travel going to be called
double dribble. Exactly right. And looks like Kevin Rogers is heading off now. Bit of a limp to his gait. I don't know what happened behind the play there. That's not a good sign if you're Coach Langis and the Titans. So Derek Hall back on here, playing with 3 fouls, 6 points, 4 rebounds in the first half. Pressing the duty here, I think, sooner than expected, or hoped for anyways.
Jones for 3, drops it in. Maurice Jones, the big response. That Windsor lead is up to 14.
Jones now 2 for 4 from beyond the arc, on really on par with the season average with attempts and makes.
Starks flips it up.
Block
He's
there.
blocked that time.
And was that Maurice Jones getting up for that swat? I think it was.
It looked like a team effort, but Jones might have been the one who gets a hand on it. Keith scores in transition, and things are beginning to unravel.
Biggest lead of the ball game here for Windsor.
Duncan, the entry pass, a foul is going to be called.
And going back to Logan Stutz for a second with his 20-plus points, this season high in 2017 thus far for this 2017-18 campaign is 27 in game number 2 of the regular season against the Halifax Hurricanes.
Nice pass to Bird. Hall looked like he had an assist in the bag, but Bird misses the open lay-in.
That's the second time we've seen a lack of execution on really what should be textbook conversions for the Titans. First Sutherland, now Bird.
Tough shot that time. Jones, that was Fraser going up into traffic. Bird trying to go the other way, flips it up, won't go. And Stutz the rebound. Stutz the left-hand drive out to Jones. Had an open look, but Duncan rotates back to help. Shot clock down to 10. Keith and Sutherland jostling for position down low. Jones slips away with the screen. The long two, banks it in. Maurice Jones off the window, and it's 69-51 Windsor.
Maurice Jones' play all of a sudden just picking up as Hall throws one up, and he's fouled. And it looks like it's the newcomer in that instance, Montre Harris, getting the harm call. And Hubert's going to come on to replace Shaq Keith here. Desmond Hubert, 7 points in the first half on 2 for 3 shooting. 5 boards as well. Some hard work under the glass for him. That one will roll in for Hall.
Hall good on the first so far this year. Derek Hall shooting about 61% through his 7 games played. On both. Jones with that errant pass, but Frazier was still able to reel it in. Frazier trying to drive around Boniford, slips through, scores. And with that, Coach Lynch just has seen enough. Can you blame him? All of a sudden, they're down 18.
I like that drop, anyways, on that play as Stutz, as he drifted out to the outside. Hall obviously had to go with him, but with him going high, that opens things down low. It takes away your big man, obviously, for a potential swat away. And with that cleared up traffic, it opens things up for that drive right to the hoop. And then, in the end, it turns into points for the Windsor Express.
71-53, Windsor has come storming back. Already have increased their lead by 11 since the break.
KW with the win on Thursday, looking to climb to 3-5. If they are able to come back and win this ball game, they'll just be 1 game behind the Express in their attempts to get out of the basement of the Central Conference, Central Division rather. KW still having played the least amount of games in the NBL, entire NBL Canada. The next lowest is Windsor's 10, this being game number 11 on the year.
Of course, you mentioned the only other game in the National Basketball League of Canada today, the Storm taking care of business against Halifax in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Putting their 4th in a row. And we mentioned just after tip-off, KW, if you're just joining us, having made a roster move or releasing shooting guard Ben Fazzola. He was added to the roster just really days before the opening tip to the 2017-2018 season. Averaging just about 4 points a game coming off the bench for the Titans in his brief time here in Kitchener-Waterloo. Frazier called for the foul. Duncan now off the inbound. Sutherland, a big 3 ball. 71-56. Cuts the lead down to 15. Frazier, who's been hot this quarter, flips it up and once again gets the friendly roll. Chad Frazier looking comfortable out there today. Keeps it going, that's for sure. Morrow out to Hall. The open 3 for the big man won't go. Trying to slap it away was Morrow. It's going to go into the first row and it'll be visitor basketball. From time to time, you see that playing kind of drawn up by the head coach of the Titans, Serge Langis. Just trying to stretch the floor a little bit, and we know Hall can drain those 3. Just a little off the mark in that time. Frazier, finally the miss, but Windsor looked to have a second chance, but Keith stepped out of bounds with it, so the Titans will catch a break here and get the ball back, of course, down 17 now.
11 turnovers for Windsor in that first 2 quarters of play to KW's 3. KW just hasn't taken full advantage of all of those.
Bodiford, the step, the drive, and the score. A nice play from Bodiford, and that really seems to be his bread and butter. Give him a bit of a running start, and then he can charge inside and make some defenders miss, and always seems to find that open lane like a hot knife through butter.
Absolutely, and it's a result of some good footwork and some quick hands too. If he has to make that in-air adjustment going from his right to left, he can do that.
Keith flips it up and splitting the 2 defenders, gets it to drop. The Express just seem to have an answer for everything. Bodiford holding his own though, the transition layup.
Back-to-back buckets for the veteran as he was pleading for a foul call after he floated that one in.
Keith, washed by Bodiford. Stutz falling away on the jumper, won't go. Sutherland 2 mitts on it for the board. Morrow holding up Sutherland, that looks like a long 2, and drops it in. A bit of a run here for the Titans now. They went from down 18 to down 13. Still some work to do, but
they need stops. The stops will get them there.
Trending in the right direction offensively, but you're right, the big question marks come on the defensive end of the floor, especially when they've got Stutz, Keith, who have both been firing so far in this one. Open look for Jones. Won't go.
That'll be a good start to maybe a bit of a run here for KW.
Not so much the case of the defense doing the job, just a flat out miss. Sutherland's corner 3, no good. Long rebound, and
reaching.
Duncan called for the foul.
A little overzealous there as Maurice Jones came away with the loose ball on the missed shot. And Darren Duncan with, again, the reach in. 19 minutes played going into the third.
75-62, Windsor the lead. Keith works in the corner. Jones against Sutherland. Jones has that pass deflected straight up in the air. Goes to Hubert, back to Jones in the corner. 3 goes in and out. And the big man haul there for the rebound. Morrow with Sutherland and the layup.
And we're used to seeing more of that from Shamar Sutherland. Last time was a forgettable moment for him, but right there we see KW piece some more points together and back within 11 now. Another timeout call, and a quick one at that by Windsor's head coach Bill Jones with 4:09 to go in the third. And we remiss not to mention this past week's Players of the Week from the Atlantic and Central Division, respectively. Duke Blondie of the Cape Breton Highlanders, Ryan Anderson of the London Lightning, who was just here recently. 20 points a game, just shy of 21 points a game, in fact, for Mondi with 5 boards, 7.3 assists. Anderson averaging a double-double for the week ending December 24th, with 8 helpers on average to go along with his goals, too.
Now, Dan, stop me if I sound incorrect here, but this looks like a movie that we've seen a lot before, where the Titans have a lead, they watch it go away, they're right there, they seem to be on the verge of a comeback, but ultimately they fall short. What has to happen here?
Inevitably, they just have to get more stops. At this point, they've been able to claw their way back, and like you said, they've just often dug themselves too big of a hole to climb out of, but that's just as a result of, okay, they'll get a couple buckets in a row, and then the defense, and then the other team will come right back, whoever they might be facing. For this to really be able to flip the page on it fully, you just have to keep getting those consistent stops, and then obviously, as going the other way, just keep scoring those hoops. It's just a matter of differential, really. Defense really has to step up. Can't stress that enough.
When you look at the comebacks that have come up short in recent memory for the Titans, is it a matter of the mental game, or is it basically basketball fundamentals?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. With the fundamental side of things, it goes hand in hand with the mental side, as Keith goes in for a nice lay-in, and there again, a strong move, attacking the attacking at the hoop for number 23. But those are the kind of plays we have to see more consistently from the KW Titans, because if things aren't going, they just like to seem to settle a little bit, sit back and take those jumpers as Hall gets the board.
Looks like Sutherland stepped out of bounds.
And there's the mental lapse that we were talking about, knowing where you're on the floor too. These kind of things have added up in the late stages of ball games for KW. They just can't happen if you want to win consistently and come back from any sort of deficit you might be facing.
Eric Parker set the check back in for Windsor. Bill Jones got exactly what he wanted out of that timeout. A score, then a stop. Windsor looking for
and
more.
A turnover too.
Exactly, with Keith down low. Roll won't go, but the offensive rebound from Hubert and a fresh 24 for the Express.
Need a box out right there. I'm wondering what the issue might be with Rogers, because I think we'd still have him back in the ballgame at this point after the timeout especially.
The drive and the floater from Anderson is good.
And it's really unfortunate because Rogers was just starting to get going. He's standing behind the bench and hanging around the athletic therapist.
Duncan trying to cut through traffic, leaves it for Bodiford. Back out to Duncan, watched by Jones. He's got Morrow on the wing, trying to force it inside of Bodiford. Leads to a turnover. Back the other way, Anderson pulls up for two. Long rebound, and Morrow there for the rebound. Back the other way. Derek Hall. Cuts the lead back down to 13. Hall has looked good in the early stages of this ball game. Of course, tied a season high in points against the River Lions.
As when he's allowed to get comfortable in there, he can certainly contribute offensively.
Jones straightaway three, in and out.
And a good hustle play there by Morrow, crashing in and grabbing the loose ball on the rebound.
Bodiford, the entry pass. Hall simply lost the handle, no foul.
Never fully in control as he bobbled that inbound pass. And again, as you said, just a bit of a hot potato for him there as he tried to spin and go up with it, even as he's still tipping around that basketball. It's tough for any sort of basketball player at any level.
Well, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's a perfect pass, but even when you make that perfect pass, it's overall just a tough play to make in that time, leading to the turnover. 79-66, Windsor with the lead with just under a minute and a half to go here in the third quarter. Of course, the Express were up by 7 at the half and have almost doubled that lead. Now up 79-66. Jones, watched by Starks, slips away from the defense. Jumper won't drop. Starks leaving it for Bodiford. Bodiford the crossover. In the corner, Bird almost lost it. Bodiford with a minute to go in the quarter now, but foul going to be called on the floor. It looks like it was on Parker. Both teams still with fouls to give here with under a minute to go.
And a good time right here for KW to try and get something going with Stutz on the bench, but that's not going to help.
Hall on the receiving end of back-to-back turnovers now for the Titans. Parker into the corner for Anthony Otley Jr. 3-ball, no good. Bodiford there to stand his ground and drop it forward. About a 7-second differential game clock, shot clock. We saw the Titans in the same situation defensively. And at the end of the half, they weren't able to capitalize, ended up turning the ball over. That time, Starks tries to bank it in, won't go. Long rebound, Windsor has it. And they got time for one last shot. Down to 5, here's Jones. Jones gets a screen from Otley Jr. The 3 up in the air, no good. KW stands their ground, but still down 13 after 36 minutes.
Well, it's certainly a manageable deficit, but it's going to take some work. And there we saw a good box up by Bird to wrap up the quarter. Otherwise, it would have been an easy putback for Windsor. They could have been up 15, but In that previous set, you saw Coach Land just wanted the high pick, and we saw the pick and roll worked out for Hall potentially to receive a pass from Starks, but decided to take that off-balance jumper instead, kiss it off the glass, and a bit of a lower percentage look there for Starks. Granted, you might be willing just to take that shot with him as well as he has played in the games he's suited up for KW. Averaging just under about 20 points a game.
$79-66, the score after 3 quarters of play. Of course, anyone just joining us, the Titans led by 10 after the first quarter. A comfortable double-digit lead. Windsor cut into that, though, and ended up taking a 7-point lead to the locker room, and really got out of hand in the third quarter with Windsor leading by as many as 18, but Kitchener-Waterloo cutting back in with 79-66, a 13-point game.
Logan Stutz at 22 points, 13 rebounds. Shaq Keith now up to 20 points on the night as well.
Talk about that lack of a star player for the Titans, and today it's really evident when you look at that score sheet only.
I think it's developing with the form of Rogers and Starks, but Rogers has been on the floor, and he's kind of wincing around the Titans bench right now. Curious whether he's going to try and tough it out here. He's trying to walk around, and by that reaction, I don't think he's going to be good to go. And I'd be shocked if he's back tonight at all.
Just 18 minutes for Rogers. Shot 60%, though, 6 for 10 from the floor to go along with his 12 points. And despite those limited minutes, leads the team in scoring. So no Rogers. It'll be Starks, Bodiford, Hall, and Bird back on the floor for KW along with Morrow. Bodiford to step in, tries to leave it for Bird. It got tipped, tries one for 3, won't go.
It's going to be interesting to watch Hall the rest of the way, too. He's averaging 22 minutes a game played, and he's already pulled down 18, filling in for Rogers here. How does his stamina hold up here the rest of the way?
They find Hubert, the big throwdown. Hubert has been buzzing all around the rim. That's another big throwdown for him. That time going up hard was Birdie. Comes down with the foul and a chance for 2 at the free throw line.
Well, KW somewhat improving on their shooting percentage, and I say somewhat, but getting back to normal because they neared their mark in the first quarter, 48% in that third frame at 47.1. That was after dropping to half that in the second quarter. One reason why they went to the break down 5. 24% they shot from the field in the second quarter of play, up to 38.8 on the game, whereas Windsor sitting at 50.8 after a 68% shooting success rate from the floor in the second quarter of play. Really a quarter that's been the tail of the tape in this one. Huge swing in this ball game, that second quarter.
The offensive foul that time, it looked like it was on Hubert. Indeed it was. Titans catching a bit of a break here, but you got to capitalize on these breaks.
Well, that's just it. It's all got to come to fruition, and the Titans need to start taking advantage. Points off, the fouls and turnovers. And it's interesting to note, Windsor with 4 more turnovers than the Titans, yet Windsor has the edge in points off those turnovers, 12-10 over KW.
That time, Otley called for the foul. Stutz going to check back in, so the slight break that you had with the leading scorer off the floor is over if you're Kitchener as Parker checks out.
Game on now. Last double-double for Logan Stutz.
Into the corner to Starks.
Touch on that in a second.
Bodiford, the baseline drive and scoring. Bodiford, talk about someone who had to step up after the early going of the season. He's certainly done that this afternoon. Just looked good when they put the ball in his hands. Shot clock down to 10. 3-point attempt off the mark that time from Anderson. Starks pulls up for 2 and drops it in. Ahmad Starks. All of a sudden, it's a single-digit ball game. 81-72. Titans battling back after trailing by as many as 18. Jones for 3. Won't go. Morrow, the rebound, slips back as the Titans have numbers the other way. Bodiford takes the body. No foul called. Starks triple, puts it home. Ahmad Starks for 3, and it's just a 6-point game.
That's the first 3-ball. Rather the second 3-ball of the night for Starks. A nice look at the corner, an open look.
Hubert drives, misses, loose ball, fighting for it, and a fresh 24 for Windsor. Jones the step back, no good. Otley the rebound, foul called on what appears to be Bird.
Well, Hall did well to step up to get a hand in the face there of the shooter, the initial shooter, but second chance opportunities for Windsor results in a foul call against the Titans. And we're gonna have Frazier come back on here to replace Trey Anderson. As going to touch on the last double-double, in fact, was just a game ago on the road against the Lightning in a losing cause for Logan Stutz, as he gives a bit of a hand there to Otley Jr. at the free throw line, draining his first. Season high at 27 points. He also had a double-double in that affair as well against Halifax back on November the 25th. Stutz with 22. He's closing in on a season high, or tying it at least.
Otley, good from the free throw line. He's going to check out. Windsor has watched their lead disappear though again. Now only up 8. Titans looking to string that momentum together. 8:50 to go. Hall, the turnaround, hook shot won't go.
A little heavy there.
Shaq Keith, who's back in the game, leaves it for Jones. The entry pass to Stutz, watched by Hall. Pass inside, kick it back out. Keith, the drive. Frazier, open look for 3. No good.
Some great ball movement there, though, from the Express.
Bird leaves it for Hall. Look for 3. Won't go. The big man not afraid to shoot that 3 ball.
Not sure if you want to pull the trigger in that instance, though. Then again, there was really nothing developing in the paint area for KW, so taking the open look, Hall just missing.
Jones, Hubert in the paint.
3.
There it is.
3-second violation in the game.
You know, despite leading by 8 points, the Express have had their fair share of turnovers. Imagine the Titans are awfully hungry to make them pay for them.
Still, that should be their 13th by our tally here of the night for Windsor in terms of the turnovers.
Starks running into trouble, slips away. Out to Bodiford with 3 to shoot. Bodiford lost the ball. And they respond to the turnover with a turnover, and Stutz responds with a 3, and it's 86-75 Windsor.
2 for 3 from the arc. Logan Stutz up to 25 now. Closing in on that season high, as I mentioned. He's having one heck of a night.
Starks for 3, puts it in. Another one for Ahmad Starks.
As he was drifting to his left, let that one fly. Starks doing all he can to maybe get this team going offensively. He's got them within 8 now.
Stutz and Starks exchange triples. Frazier won't go.
That's a stop the KW needed. Plenty of time left here, just over 6 minutes.
Bodiford for 3, no good. Morrow battling for the rebound, he's got it. And a fresh shot clock. Starks won't go. Maybe a little too much there, 2 deep 3-point attempts.
How about that effort from the London native, though? He's been all over the place, playing hard tonight.
The double team down low on Frazier leaves Jones open in the corner, steps in and scores.
Up to 12 on the night.
Back to a double-digit ball game at 88-78. We're midway through the fourth. Russell Bird, open lane, and the score.
A good identification there. Nothing doing there in the middle of the key for Bird. Switches over to his left side and was able to beat two Windsor Express players for the easy lay-in in the end.
Stutz the corner three, rattles it in. Back-to-back threes for Logan Stutz, and it's an 11-point Express lead.
You can't leave him alone in the corner as he just did right there. He's going to burn you. Taking full advantage, Logan Stutz, as Hall was slow to get out to challenge.
Pass for Potiphar, lost it, and a great save that time by Jones. He'll get the ball back as he crosses the timeline. Express up 11, looking to stretch it even more here with over 5 to go. Pass inside, Stutz, and he is on a tear of his own here in the fourth quarter.
Unbelievable string of minutes here from Logan Stutz ever since coming back in the ball game after the start of the fourth quarter. And a foul call now too. And it's going to be Windsor's Desmond Hubert, his third personal of the game. Which is now his fourth. 4:55 to go here in regulation. Back up to a 13-point Windsor lead. And we've seen it, evidence of it, last couple minutes. Titans piecing together some runs up the floor where they're able to execute. And then the brain cramps, we saw the last one where Stutz was able to sneak in back door and receive a great pass up the middle of the lane. Put in for an easy two.
Starks 18 points in his last game. Of course, missed the one prior. I mentioned Rogers was coming off that team high 22 against Niagara. But today, limited minutes, and that's really looking like it's hurting them down the stretch.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what his Rogers' long-term health is going to be as well. Did not even see how it developed. We just saw him trailing the play at one point, and the Titans with a timeout called in that instance too. So he was able just to walk off very gingerly at that, and then just keeping an eye on behind the bench, kind of working with the athletic therapy staff. And now Logan Stutz indeed does now have a season high 30 points, 15 rebounds. And with that 15, that's also a season high. His previous high is a 12 in that 12 rebound effort there in November the 25th against Halifax. More than anything, you appreciate that 12 of the 15 he's got tonight on the defensive end.
Big play from the big man Stutz. Bird dropping at number one.
KW now up to 50% shooting from the field.
The problem is you're missing 23 pointers at the same time. In total, shooting just under 40%
Correct.
from three.
I should correct myself. Windsor shooting 50% for the ballgame, 39.7 for KW. But you're right, from three-point range, 6 of 26.
So that's 23%, not what they wanted. A team that relies heavily on their three-point percentage. They have made no more than 2 per quarter. 2 in the first, 2 so far here in the fourth, and then 1 in the middle. Each the second and third.
For the lowest scoring team in the league, the KW Titans, you have to tighten the screws defensively if you want a chance. And 32 points, 25 points in back-to-back quarters now, 14 with 4:42 remaining in this quarter, and a putback there way too easy.
That's right, way too easy that time for Otley Jr. Gets that lead back up to 14, and the Titans are slowly starting to watch this game slip out of their grasp. Starks, the contested 3, passes out of the shot down low to Hall, and he gets tangled up for the foul.
And Hall pulling down some major minutes here today. we've already discussed ad nauseum almost. 25 minutes played for Derek Hall, 10 points, 8 rebounds for him.
He got tied up again there, drew another foul. That'll be the 6th on the Express. So
pretty easy for a 7-footer with that wingspan to do, I suppose.
Now the Express are out of fouls to give, so from here on out it'll be free throws for KW.
And why not go right at them, I say.
14 to shoot off the inbound. Up top to Ahmad Starks. Works around Jones and Stutz, flips it up, but Starks just misses that one.
A look of frustration there written all over Ahmad Starks' face, claps his hands there too. Going back to play some defense, missing that lay-in.
Stutz, that pass, tipped by Bodiford.
Bodiford, I think Bird got a hand in there too.
Bodiford finds the lane, flips it up, won't go, and a rare miss for him when he finds that kind of room, but it was last touched by what looks like Frazier, so it'll stay Titans basketball.
Jamar Sullivan back in the ball game now for KW. Bodiford has a seat.
Bird for 3, front rim.
Windsor will take this right now with 3:25 to go. They'll slow down the pace here and wind down this clock as many times as they can on each of the ensuing trips.
Works it down low to Stutz. He draws the foul, and looks like he got tangled up that time with Starks.
That would have been a pretty looking play there if they were able to connect Shaq Keith, getting that pass and just one-handing it at the same motion down for Stutz, potentially cutting back door. Got deflected at the last second.
Jones, launched by Sutherland, tries to slip by him, flips it up with the right hand, won't go. It appears to be an offensive rebound, but of course to not hit the rim, shot clock does not reset, so it'll be a 24-second violation against Windsor, but time winding down here, under 3 minutes to go, and the Titans have a bit of a mountain to climb, down 14. Starks falls, gets tangled up. That'll be called a held ball if he didn't call timeout.
Held ball called.
Indeed, that'll benefit Windsor that time.
And this building has turned very quiet with 2:40 to go in the 4th.
Starks called for a foul near the timeline on Jones.
I think they're even starting to question what exactly happened there in that second quarter.
Titans outscored 32-15 after being up by 10, found themselves down 7.
Things are shaping up so well for the home side.
Frazier out to Keith. Keith against Duncan, has it poked away. Darren Duncan steals it. Head to Starks.
Some great aggressive defense there from the veteran.
Pulls up for 3, won't good. Battling for that rebound, but the Express come away with it. And Sutherland picks up the foul. It almost looks like intentional fouls at this point, maybe just trying to stop the clock, but not going to do much good.
KW getting their 5th team foul now. And for or it's appearing like anyways, for the 4th time this season, the KW Titans are going to shoot less than 40% on the night. Unless they're able to change things a little bit here, down 14 in the last 2 minutes of play. Certainly an area that they'll be addressing and hopefully improves as they get more games under their belt in the next little bit. I think this is going to be a huge point in their season right now with a string of games. We mentioned 8 games in 15 days coming up for KW. This could very well determine the fate of their season.
Certainly a tough stretch coming up with some tough opponents, and of course 3 straight games against St. John's, 2 in Newfoundland, and then back here at the odd.
Especially when you have a team like Windsor. This is a team that you're going to have to overcome essentially in your conference, or in your division rather, to get into that final playoff spot. So we see where the disparity is at this point. Titans obviously see it, the coaching staff does. How do they overcome it? And we're going to have to see some overall better play from the team in the next little while.
Duncan misses the jumper.
Because we've seen that KW can compete with them. We saw it for the first couple quarters, for the most part anyways. But it's just been that little extra from the NBL Canada finalists from a season ago that are going to lead them to victory now. As we're going to see a couple new faces onto the floor for KW.
Denzel James, Kyle Arsenault, and Nigel Tyter all into the game. Hubert Banks in the first free throw. It's just been that kind of day.
And getting some garbage time, and I'm sure they'll be happy to flip the calendar from 2017 to 2018. Nothing like starting fresh, especially coming off a tough loss like this one, or what's going to be.
The result all but official now, 99-82 Windsor. James down low to Tyter. That's going to be an offensive foul on Tyter.
Well, he makes his presence felt, doesn't he? Player of the game certainly has to be Logan Stutz. 30 points, 15 rebounds, both season highs, and certainly what you want from a former MVP in terms of leading his team, especially after two tough losses back-to-back, and maybe righting the ship a little bit as they are en route to their first win of this 7-game road trip.
Keith against Sutherland. Turnaround is short.
Some good defense from our Sutherland on Shaq Keith, two guys that have played in that Crown Summer League in Toronto.
Arsenault working across. James pump fakes and steps into a three, but he's well short. Sutherland there for the ball. The rebound won't go. Arsenault fighting for it, and a foul is going to be called on the floor.
Hold up on Shamar Sutherland, I think.
Foul's going to be called on Otley Jr. with 46 seconds to go.
That's Ollie Jr.'s second. It's Arsenault, in fact, that was fouled, and he'll have his first point of the night as he's learning the trade here in the NBL Canada, watching much more from the bench. Drafted this past summer, or I suppose really the fall by the time the draft actually happened. So KW next up will be their game on the 5th of January.
Able to come away with it was Otley. And now the Express can wind down the clock.
Handshakes all around there, around the Windsor bench as Bill Jones goes over to shake Serge Lance's hands now with the buzzer just about to sound. And this tough one for the KW Titans to swallow. Wrap up 2017 99-84, the final, as the Express improve now to 5-5.
The Express a winning note to end the calendar year. The Titans not so much. They dropped 2 out of 3 on this homestand. Next will travel to London, the front end of a home and road back-to-back, where they'll come back and take on Niagara. What we talk about is a very tough schedule upcoming, and Kevin Rogers has a big part to do with this. It was nice to have Starks back for the second game, but overall this team just really has not found that man to lean on.
No, yeah, they haven't exactly. And with Rogers still in a fair amount of pain there as Titans come to midcourt to gather themselves before they head off to a locker room. It's one of those things where they've got Ahmad Starks. He's a talented guy, but they need someone else to step up to help him out. It can't be number 11 every game. just when it was looking like it might have been Rogers, we'll have to wait and see what is determined from this potential injury with him. They just hope it's nothing too serious. Fortunately for them, they have a week to figure it out. January 5th, they'll be heading to London to take on the Lightning, and they'll be playing that Lightning team for 2 of the next 3 games, split in between by that home game on the 6th.
Another tough day for Russell Bird. Despite the 14 points, goes 1 for 8 from 3, 3 for 4 from the field, 1 for 5. Darren Duncan goes from the floor, chips in with 8 times, but overall just not enough numbers where you want to see them on the score sheet for this Kitchener team. 99-84 the final, as you see there on your screens at home. Next game, January 6th against Niagara. Of course, the team that they beat the last time out, but still they got to figure things out within their conference. They have not had much luck against these teams that they're going to be seeing quite a few times this year.
And the offensive struggles really continue for KW, averaging about 94 points a game on the season, and another 84, well below their season average at that. So, sorry, correction, 97 points they're averaging on the season, well below that here tonight with the 84 in this 6th loss of the season for them.
Of course, this was just their 8th game of the season. It's a league low, so they've got plenty of time to catch up. They've definitely got to make the most of it in 2018. We'll be ready. We enjoy, of course, always calling these games. We'd like to thank you for tuning in and spending the beginning of your New Year's Eve with us. We wish you all a happy New Year here from Kitchener. For Dan Paulchuk, I'm Ian Jodry, and we'll see you in 2018.